So once again, Go-Go Loser Ranger continues to be my favorite anime I tune into and watch every single week, because this anime has kept me on my toes trying to guess what's going to happen each week. And this episode was really freaking great. The storytelling, the visuals, and of course the action. The visuals was really great. You can tell that they put a lot of budget into this week's episode with the action scenes we got, because the last week's episode or the episode before that, a lot of characters seemed off model and a lot of the stuff seemed a little bit janky. This week's episode, they knew this is the action episode. We got to put the budget into this week's episode. So I really enjoyed this week's episode because you got to see a lot of the other Rangers sort of making their way through the exam and fighting through. But then like the last half of this episode, it's nothing but suspense, drama, and all-out action. Although there was some action at the start of this episode as well. So, of course, I was right with my prediction. Koguma was replaced by XX. No idea what happened to Koguma. He might be dead. I'm guessing he's dead. We have no idea at this point. But the episode opens up with Izumi, the little Blue Ranger girl. She managed to survive, and she finds this little dragon outside, this little mascot dragon, which we've seen in the ending before. And this little dragon thing is voiced by Masako Nozawa, the voice of Goku in Japan, which is really weird to see her voice something else that isn't Goku or the other Sun family members, because that's what she's mostly been doing in anime for the longest time. She did a couple of other roles here and there that I've heard her in only a few times, like she was Kureha in One Piece. She was also the narrator in the Digimon Adventure reboot. So she's done other things, but I mostly know her for being Goku and the Sun family. But here we have her as this dragon that looks cute but kind of has a dead expression. So this episode we also get to see the backstory of Izumi and Blue Keeper, where Blue Keeper became nervous around Blue, but once she got to know him, they formed a bond. And I really did like the dynamic between the two because, you know, Blue would shake up people. He doesn't have a way with words. He's very aggressive when he speaks. So they sort of have this formula going on where Izumi would do the talking and then Blue can speak whenever he's ready because, you know, he has a bit of a mouth on him, you could say. So she does all the talking and then he gets to speak once she's done. So I do like that dynamic between the two of them. Now, the other Rangers are really interesting in this episode. You've got Yamato in this episode where his goal is once he becomes an official Ranger, he's going to build a harem. So he just wants to be a Ranger to get the pussy, which is kind of funny, and grows to Angel, which... not Angel, Yukino. Angel's another character. But Yukino is quite an interesting character as well because she admired heroes and she wants to be a hero herself, or she wants to be the one who steps up and can sort of take initiative herself. I think that's what she was getting at with her backstory. But she almost bit the dust in this episode because you have XX pretending to be Koguma, and XX pretending to be Koguma is just ruthlessly cutting down all the Rangers, almost killing them. Presumably killing them, because there's this one fight that we see at the start of the episode and XX pretending to be Koguma is just wailing on them. And there's this scene where XX pretending to be Koguma approaches Yukino and he almost, XX as Koguma almost goes for the kill, and Yamato ends up saving her, so we've got that going on. So there's a bunch of other Rangers that have some really good moments in this episode. I mean, you've got Shippu who's fighting Ren, and Shippu just punches through the bullets, which is really freaking badass. I love that scene. Like, he just gets his fist down and just punches through them. Really freaking cool scene. And then you've got the other chick, I can't remember her name, but she hides in the car from the other one, but it's hard to say what happens to her in this episode because you think that she's got a good strategy going on, but someone's waiting in the car for her. So in this episode, because Izumi was able to escape, all the other Rangers managed to find her, and Blue Keeper manages to find her as well. And Blue Keeper is pissed off. You have this scene where he just jumps down into the parking lot where the exams are being held, and he finds XX as Koguma and just lays the smackdown on her and starts torturing her in the back of a truck, and it is brutal. Like, the animation of this scene with the lighting, it's I don't get uncomfortable watching anime, but just hearing the screams and the music and just the voice performance of everyone, it did make me a little bit uneasy, I will say that. But it was pretty brutal because, like, Blue Keeper's like, hey, you guys can regenerate. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep picking at you and picking at you, and I'm going to count how many times I can pick at you, and we'll see what happens until I'm ready to cut off your head and you can't regenerate anymore. It's freaking brutal. But D as Hibiki manages to come in and save the day because he comes in and it initiates a fight between Blue Keeper, Hibiki, and XX. But Blue Keeper whips out the divine weapon, the divine artifact, and we get to see what it looks like, and it's really freaking destructive from what we see in this episode. I mean, I believe we saw it earlier, way back when there was the other Duster that got eliminated by Red Keeper, but here we get to see one actually being used in more of a longer situation scenario, where we get to see more of its destructive instead of it being like a one-shot kill device. Here we get to see like what this one can do, and the blue one, it looks like it can create like tidal waves, and you've got these bubbles with fish in them, and they're super like explosive because XX gets hit by one of them and they're unable to regenerate back. So it looks like XX might be losing most of their limbs moving forward, or they're just going to regenerate really slowly. So Blue Keeper is on the warpath in this episode, because at the end of the episode, you've got Blue Keeper walking through the fire and all the smoke through the fire and the flames. Blue Keeper carries on, but it's a really cool shot at the end. So I don't know what I'm going to make the thumbnail for this week's episode. It's either going to be Blue Keeper walking through the smokes and the flames, or that scene where like Blue Keeper is holding up XX and he's torturing her. I don't know. So many choices. So many choices I can make. But the episode ends after a post-credit scene where you have XX knowing that they can't beat Blue Keeper because he's got a divine weapon, and says, hey, Patroller is alive, I can take you to where he is. And judging by next week's episode preview, because Go-Go Loser Ranger does like interesting episode previews where you have the plushies talking and they talk about all this cool stuff happening, but they never show it. And I do like that. It's really unique because they sort of vaguely tease all this cool stuff that's going to happen, but the episode like preview isn't going to spoil it with the animation. So I do like that. So it looks like we could be seeing Blue Keeper versus Patroller, and I do wonder how that fight is going to go down. Are we going to see D meeting? Are we going to see D meeting Duster, Fighter D meeting Patroller for the very first time, because he's shocked at the revelation that he's alive, so we'll have that going on. But either way, Go-Go Loser Ranger continues to be one of my favorite animes, along with Kaiju number 8, to watch every week. With that said, I think I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye.